Hey guys, PSP Wrestler here. Just going to be making my Royal Rumble predictions in this video. Just going to be a pretty short video. At the moment I'm just currently watching SmackDown via satellite. We get the late feed. So got to say on that front, pretty average show as far as I can see so far. I think they're spending way too much time with the CM Punk, Savior, Straight Edge Society thing, and it's taken up a huge chunk of time. Add into that the Mickie James thing. That's a lot of time taken up on one show just with these segments. So I'm kind of questioning that a little bit, and the CM Punk thing's getting a little stale. It'd be good to see him challenged by someone quite soon. So I've just made a few notes on this particular video. This is my Royal Rumble predictions. I've got a few different takes on this, a couple of different angles that I'd go, and I'll kind of try and explain them the best I can. So I'm just going to list off the guys. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 and a half maybe guys. First person that I'm going to pick, I've said this in the last video, Ted DiBiase. I think it's probably still a little bit too young to be, to be pushing him, or a little bit too early on, I should say, to be pushing him. But you can see the bit of a rift forming with Legacy at the moment. Especially on Raw, Cody shrugging off Ted. And Cody leaving Ted in the ring. It's building, it has been building with Randy and Ted for a little while, on the underlying sort of surface. So you could see Ted winning the Royal Rumble, possibly, and causing that friction with Randy again, and then signaling either the end of Legacy or someone else coming in and taking Ted's place, thus building him up to that face sort of level. Secondly, I'm going to say it just because it's probably one of the most obvious things on TV right now, the HBK thing. I can't see him winning it. He's won a couple before, but I don't think that it would be right for him to win the Royal Rumble and then go on and face The Undertaker, because I don't think anyone wants to see, the majority of people don't want to see The Undertaker HBK rematch, and secondly, I just don't think they're going to push HBK that way. In saying that, if they did and they fought each other, I could see it maybe being a last stand for both of them, and maybe retiring after WrestleMania. I kind of hope that doesn't happen that way, and somebody else does win the Royal Rumble, even though HBK is one of my all-time favorites. Moving right along, I'm going to agree with Spinonet on one point in regards to his pick, Kofi Kingston. I think that's, as far as the young guys go, it could be quite a good bet. Again, if Sheamus is to lose the belt to Randy Orton at the Royal Rumble, Randy Orton carries the title into WrestleMania. You could sort of rekindle that rivalry with Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton if Kofi is to win the Royal Rumble. Probably on the outer of my picks, but he'd be up there with if he's in there near the end, and you got to. If I was a betting man, I'd probably put some money on him. Moving right along, Triple H is a little bit of a long shot. I put him in there A because he's one of those stalemates that are just always there. You can guarantee he's probably going to be there near the end. I could see a possible heel turn. Maybe him stopping HBK from winning the Royal Rumble. Maybe him eliminating HBK. Thus, possibly turning heel. I think the crowd would mainly side with HBK over Triple H, especially with the actions on Raw, where he was trying to prove his point by throwing every man outside of the ring. That kind of thing could possibly turn him heel, especially at the Royal Rumble. So I think that's a long shot, but maybe a reason why he might win. Batista is another pick, another one of those guys that's always going to be around near the end. The only reason I say this is if Rey is to beat Undertaker at the Royal Rumble and win the title, it would set up quite a nice sort of end to the feud with Batista facing Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania for the title, and then possibly we might see a face return or turn for Batista again. I can see them maybe putting their differences aside and embracing it WrestleMania, or it could go the other way and he could stomp on Rey Mysterio's head. Who knows? That's just again my take on it. A couple more. I'm not sure about this. I've kind of got a little bit of a nagging feeling, not a nagging feeling, but a feeling, deep inside, we might see Edge, you can't put it past. It's been a long while now, and I know that the injury was pretty serious, but they may do a Cena and bring him in at number 30 or late down the order, and he may clean up, taking on maybe Randy Orton if he goes to Raw, if Orton is to win the belt. Or The Undertaker again, but I'm not sure if people want to see The Undertaker and Edge at WrestleMania, or even Edge versus Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania for the title. I'm not sure how that'll work. I think when Edge does return, it'll be a face return. Second to last on this list, CM Punk made a good point on his segment, even though it went on and on and on. First straight Edge winner of the Royal Rumble. They could go with that, but then again, this whole thing's getting a little bit stale, and I think I'm not religious by any means, but I think if you were kind of in any way kind of semi-religious, or you had these feelings and you were watching that segment tonight especially, you'd start to feel a little bit uneasy with what's going on. I think they are trying to push this boundary a little bit, which is good, but it doesn't really fit with that whole wholesome family type PG show. So who knows? But yeah, CM Punk may take it out. First straight edge winner of the Royal Rumble. Lastly, I'm going to go with Chris Jericho. The reason I'm going to go with Chris Jericho there's a couple of reasons. A, I think they could really build him up to that sort of main event type level again. The last few sort of weeks, maybe months, he's been kind of at that mid-card level, and he doesn't belong there. So I think that would definitely boost him, obviously. But secondly, there's been a lot of talk about Jericho Undertaker WrestleMania 26. If that was to happen, that would be awesome. I can see, Jericho taking on Undertaker at WrestleMania 26 for the title. We may see Shawn Michaels interfere in that match. Shawn Michaels now obviously has a history with both Jericho and Undertaker. So I'd be really interested to hear what you guys' thoughts are on this. I'm sorry it's been a bit rushed, but I'm just trying to kind of get through my points. So hey, look, if you guys can sort of give me your comments. You don't have to rate or favorite or whatever, but just let me know what you think, and we'll see where we go from there. But anyway, thanks guys, and I'll see you down the road.